Well, I appreciate all four of you and Dan being here, of course, for this NCAA Individual Champions call. Um, what a special group of golfers, and of course our head coach. Four individual NCAA winners. Pretty remarkable. What do y'all? When you think back to your times winning an NCAA individual title, of course you won. See, all four of you won NCAA titles as well. How much do you remember of your championship? What does that mean to you to have that individual win? What was it like? I mean, Virginia, why don't we start with you? You were the most recent one, so why don't you talk about your record-breaking performance that you had in Oregon?
Well, that's easy because it's very recent, so I remember it very, very nicely. But I mean, just an amazing experience. I remember a lot about it. I didn't really know what was going on, I think. I mean, after the first day, I was like, okay, cool. I played well, but there are 3 days to go. And then I kept on playing well every day. I had been playing well the whole season, long game wise. And then everything just summed up together and came together during nationals. So it was the perfect timing. But it was just a nice experience. Definitely a very different experience than winning the NCAA title with the team, because individually, yes, was fun, but it wasn't really a team effort. And what we experienced, I think, in Arkansas last year was something very special, because each one of us really contributed to the team winning, and it was just something like bigger than yourself. So as much as it was nice to win it individually, it was very different, since now it's like also like match play, the team part of it. But no, it was fun. It was very fun. And Amanda was there commentating for Golf Channel. So she gave me a few tips. She had played Oregon when she played the US Amateur, right?
Yeah, she won the AM there. Yep.
Yeah, so it was just fun. It was a fun experience and environment as a whole. I had no idea what was happening. And actually, I didn't know, I mean, not related to me, but it was just a comment. So growing up, my idol, like my golf idol, had always been Lorena Ochoa, and I had no idea you guys had won like twice, beating Lorena Ochoa. So it was fun. It was good to see. But yeah.
Dan, what do you remember about that week?
Well, honestly, I didn't spend that much time with Virginia through the whole thing, because John was with her a lot, and I was with the other four. So we just sort of left John and Virginia to do their thing. I remember watching her make some putts. I think what really came around for Virginia, she has an incredible long game that's just sort of always there, and putting is good when it's good, and it was good that week, and that's what made the difference. So you combine that long game with putts that are going in, and nobody was close to her. I think you were leading by 6 shots or something going into the last day, shot in the 60s every day. Just sort of tore the course apart, really. It was great.
Virginia, I know you heard a lot about these other 3 golfers on this call as well, kind of being at Duke recently and seeing the history of the in the building and the golf buildings. What does it mean to you to be on a call, be able to meet, I don't think you had ever met Anna before, and just kind of be able to talk about y'all's NCAA wins and join a club like these 3?
Inspiring. It's amazing. I think once I got to Duke, during my visit at Duke, and then once I was on campus and I started classes, I would always walk into KI and feel amazed. I was always, amazed by what everyone had done in the program. So I always wanted to, I guess, do something like everyone else and be able to win. And I would walk towards coach's office and always see individual champion. And I'd be like, wow, that is amazing. And so it's very, very cool to just be able to join into this conversation today.
Anna, let's move on over to you. Since your little one, it looks like it's giving you a little bit of a break.
Well, that's because I don't have her in sight right now. Oh, she's good. She's playing with her bathtub. We're good.
For you, you think you kind of turned it on there at the end of your season in 2005. You finished second at ACCs, won the East Regional. You go on and win the NCAA individual title in Sun River, Oregon. Talk about your hot streak that you got on, and then what you did there, especially in the third round, shooting 65 at the Meadows course, and what really kind of for you.
I can't say I remember as much as Virginia. It was a little bit further back. But like on one of the other calls, Sophia remembers a good bit. But okay, can you use your indoor voice? Something just clicked with my swing, and we talked about it on one of the other calls. It was kind of a posture thing. So I just felt like I wasn't going to miss a fairway. I could always depend on my short game. So that never kind of made me nervous, but they're, hold on one sec.
Oh, she's so cute.
Maybe I should have went over to her first.
When in doubt, grab a cookie. There's a Fig Newton. Go eat it.
Yeah.
Still want to say.
Yeah.
So I just felt very confident on the tee boxes. And I also remember it was very, very cold, but I was used to that. Sophia, please.
She's like, Mommy, but I want to talk too.
I know.
And then, like Virginia had said, I was so glad that the team won as well. Because I find, just like when Amanda was, winning all the time and the team would lose, it's like she would want to be excited. But then we're all sitting there, excited for her, but bummed out. So that was nice to be able to celebrate for myself and the team and not feel kind of guilty or just a little bit not 100% satisfied, because we were I think we were seeded 1, so the expectation was there. So it wasn't like, we were seeded 10 and, you don't win, but when you're seeded 1 and you had such a winning season, it would have been a little bit bittersweet if the team hadn't all played so well as myself. So,
Dan, what do you remember about that week, and especially Anna's, impressive run there?
Well, like she said, she had an incredible short game. Anna that short game was always there. So what I remember is knowing that she was striking the ball really well. I think you had won regionals. All she needed was to strike the ball really well, and she was as good as anybody, maybe better than anybody. So she was hitting it really well, and I remember we were riding in the cart and chatting about what she could get done at this championship, because it was all together, and it was a matter of just sort of keeping your head screwed on and letting what was happening in your game actually happen. That's hard to do. It's hard to have those high expectations because you're hitting it well and you have the short game, and then to allow it to happen for a long tournament. It's a 4-day tournament, and she did it. It was great. Good job.
Especially that third round, Anna. What do you remember about that round, especially the 65, all the birdies you had? What do you recall?
That day I just felt, I think I played solid all week. The conditions were tough. But that day it was just, everybody, not everybody, but I'm sure all of you have had those days where it's just everything clicked. Even when you thought something, like you did something wrong, it somehow worked out. And it was just one of those, I was in the zone and it was like nothing could go wrong. So it was kind of surreal. It was after the round, I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But just every putt would drop. Just every tee shot was placed perfectly. It was just, I could almost do no wrong.
It was magical. I saw most of that golf, and it was
Yeah.
just, wow. It's made it look real easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of my most memorable, I feel like, overall as a team, because I was with Dan and we go into the clubhouse to get some lunch and we're down by about 8 strokes as a team. Then all of a sudden on the back 9, everybody just turns it on. And by the end of the day, we're leading by about 8 strokes. So that 16 strokes or so difference was just pretty incredible.
Yep.
Well, Uwe, why don't we move over to you and talk about your win in 2002 in Auburn, Washington. What do you recall about that? It has been a few years since it has happened, but what do you recall?
Well, first of all, I forgot that the city was called Auburn. I knew it was Washington, but you threw me off there when you said Auburn.
Yeah, it's a little, it could be confusing. Yeah.
Anyway, what I remember was that it was not one of those hard wins, it's not easy. It wasn't easy, but everything kind of fell together for me. Wasn't perfect, but I felt like my game was in good shape, and I kept the ball in play the whole week. And I think I had the right things going for me. The weather was benign, considering we were in that part of the country, Northwest, in May, and it rained most of the days, I think, but was pretty nice compared to the normal times. So that worked in my favor, and because I grew up not owning a pair of rain gears in my life before going to Duke. And what else? I was leading most of the ways. I remember shooting 68 in the first round. I think that put me, in a good position from there on. And then I was leading three shots into the final round. But despite that, I know I was going up against, one of the biggest beasts in women's college golf, Lorena. So I was very nervous going into the last round. But thankfully, she didn't have one of her best days either. So she kind of gave me cushion early on. But also we were having this team competition going alongside that kept me focused on that. So I was able to keep my nerves down throughout and was able to finish 5 strokes ahead. So like I said, I remember it wasn't one of those hard wins, yeah. And my dad was there, and it was one of the last few times that he got to witness me in person. So that was nice.
Dan, what do you recall about that week in Washington?
I remember one of the days you got up and down 7 out of 8 times.
Really, Coach?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know what day that was. I've been trying to figure that out, but I remember talking to you about it or seeing it on your stats or something. Do you think it was then or the preview? Maybe it was during the preview.
No, I think it was another year at NCAA's. But 7 out of 8 would be the right stats. I remember that too. But I think it was another NCAA.
Oh, it wasn't that tournament? Or it wasn't that golf course? Anyway, it's not a big deal.
So long ago.
Yeah, and I think it might have been the preview. And I don't think we did well in the preview, so it might have been, you were having a little trouble hitting the greens.
Probably.
Yeah, but anyway, I remember the chat we had going in the last day. And I remember the only thing I possibly could say is just sort of give you a little reality check. And that, like you were having nerves. And I remember you had explained to me that it was a little bit hard for you, which is surprising for people to hear, that you had a hard time with final days. You had a hard time like winning. You were overly good enough to win all the time, but you had trouble with that whole experience of, you know, I mean, maybe you can explain it better. And that's sort of what you were saying to me in the hotel, is that I'm going out there, everybody's going to be watching Lorena, and
Well, I
you
felt
know,
it was her time to win because that was her last tournament going out, and she was going to turn pro, and she had won like 5 or 6 events in a row before, so there was no one to stop her, and that was me.
which that means there wasn't no one to stop her. But so, I mean, I guess you thought there was some, like, this is preordained that Lorena should win this.
Yeah,
Is that-
that's what I felt.
Like,
Because I remember asking you, Coach, should I let this be her, you know, farewell?
yeah, I mean, it was insane. This conversation was like, and so I really honestly didn't have any idea what to say, other than all I said was, they're not here to watch her, they're here to watch you beat her. You know, which was not profound at all. It was the only thing that could fall out of my mouth. Because, you know, you might have won by more strokes if I hadn't said that. You know, I didn't know what else. I didn't know whether to say, you know, oh, don't worry about it. Or, you know, and all you can say is, forget that. They're here to watch you. So go do it. But anyway, it was a little different conversation, but you had unbelievable talent, and you were fully able to beat Lorena, and you obviously proved that. So good job, Uwe.
Thanks to you. Thanks to my teammates.
Good job, Uwe.
Thanks,
Candy.
Kat.
Candy, you were there, you know, witnessing, of course, playing with these, and, you know, what do you recall about that tournament, and how proud of you? You had just won the year before. Y'all had back-to-back NCAA wins. How proud of you were of her for coming through like that?
Oh, I was so happy for her. She had worked so hard. Obviously, Uwe is an incredible talent on the golf course, and just like from a personality, she's like just the sweetest person and nicest person you can possibly meet. So it couldn't have happened to a better person. And I think it's just what Dan said. You know, it just really solidified for her too that she belonged in the winning circle, and she really belonged in the top of collegiate golf. And I think it was just a special year for all of us. You know, we won the team title, and then she won it. So I think we were just all happy for each other, and it was definitely a special day.
Now, for you, Candy, it's hard to believe, 19 years ago, you know, you won it there in Florida. What do you recall about that special week? I know, unfortunately, the team did not win that season, but you winning individually, what do you remember?
I think it was just, you know, I think both my wins were not the last one, but the first NCAA titles we won as a team, and I was just so excited about that. But there was that feeling also that I finished second, and I really wanted to win that event, as well as win the first women's title for us as a team. So I think when I had the chance to win, I was really focused on the team aspect. It was almost kind of flipped. It was just a weird feeling, because I really wanted us to win as a team that year. And there were so many decisions kind of going for par fives at the very end, that if I was really worried about the individual title, I probably wouldn't have done it. And since I really wanted us to win as a team, I kind of went for it. But I also think, like Uwe, the fact that I was so focused on that, it helped me play well and win that title. And I think that was a common theme. I think having strong teams really helped us win the individual titles, because we were so pushed and because we were so focused on winning that team title. So I think winning was a little easier as an individual, because the pressure was almost off from an individual standpoint.
That's a good way to put it.
But I also think it was weird, because I had to wait, I think 4.5 hours, and I knew I was playing Lorena, which was a really good friend. I didn't really think of her like from the level of competitiveness. She was a really good friend, and still is. So it was great to win, but I was a little sad for her too, but it definitely didn't keep my competitiveness out of it. I wanted to win. But it was great. My dad was there, so that was really special. It was incredible, but I wish the team would have won the year that I won too.
Dan, what do you recall?
The playoff hole.
My God, that was a disaster.
It was 10 handicap golf. No, that's probably exaggerated. And they both skanked it off the tee. I mean, low burner, terrible. They sounded like they hit it with a shovel. It was terrible. And they got on the green. Lorena was 25 feet away. And it's like she didn't know where the hole was. I mean, she hit the thing. And then Candy gets up. I'm sort of like, holy mackerel. And then Candy gets up. She's closer, but she hits equally as bad a putt. I mean,
it was terrible.
it was like, we're all looking at each other like, what is this? Nobody had hit a good shot by that time until the final deal where I guess, Candy, you parred it.
I made the putt and she missed.
You made the putt and she missed.
First, and then I made it.
But you making that putt was the only golf shot hit on that hole by either player. When you made that putt, that was the only shot hit.
But I think what was interesting is because we were leading or close to the lead on the final group, we teed off first that day. That's why we had to wait for 4.5 hours, because we knew there was weather coming in and they really wanted to get the leaders off and done. So we teed off first. And so that's why we had to wait from an individual standpoint. We had to wait for the field to finish to do the playoff. And so it was close to 5 hours, I think.
And you're on the 6th day of golf.
Yep.
And then you're waiting 4.5 hours to go out and try to win the championship. I don't think either of you could move, or whatever it was. I remember, Kaylin was there. I just, again, it was a long time ago, but for some reason that playoff really stands out.
Oh my gosh, it was epically bad.
Louis, what do you recall about, you were a freshman on that team. What do you recall about Candy's win in that tournament? And
Well, I remember now that a 5 always beats a 6.
That's true.
Yeah, but I was so happy for Candy. I knew she was going to win. She was due. She played well all spring, but I think but you didn't win before that, right, Candy? Or you did win one? Anyway, I knew she was due for that win, and I was a little shot back after that first tee shot, though.
Oops.
But you came back with a 5 and completed the win that you were due. So happy for you. And she was always my idol. And yes, and to follow that up with my own win after you is made my career complete.
Oh, thank you.
that's pretty special. Well, I think it's pretty, I was doing some research over the weekend, and there's been 20 golfers in NCAA history to win both the individual and a team title. And pretty remarkable, we have 4 with us today. So 4 of the 20. So
Wow.
should be very proud of what you've done for sure.
That's something to be very proud of.
Yeah,
So,
I think, but I said I think the winning culture really came. I think the reason why I truly believe that the reason why we were successful individually was because we were so good as a team. I mean, every qualifier was really our toughest tournament.
for sure. anybody else have anything they'd like to add about, their win, the team success, or anything at all?
Even if I was leading by 6 going into the last day, I was freaking out, Lindy. I think the night before, so I spent a lot of time with John, as coach was saying, and the night before the last round, I don't even remember, but I think I was leading by 6 or something like that. And the worst thoughts were coming into my head, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to shoot like 82. Like, I'm going to chunk every shot. I'm going to go on the first tee and just like miss the ball. And John was literally like, what are you talking about? And so John was amazing, because what he was telling me was like, okay, like, you go to sleep. If you can't sleep, then we're going to go watch a movie. We're going to do something tonight. Just relax. And he made me do like an exercise. And he was like, okay, now just think about walking into the first tee and hit the first shot, and then the second shot, and then the third shot, and whatever. And by doing that, I realized that I could not chunk a shot. Like, I was playing, my game had been so solid that there was not a way that I could chunk a shot, and that everything was just like mental. Like, I was just making up that I was going to chunk every shot the next day. But that didn't stop me from having a crying session before my tea time the next day, because I was super nervous. I did not know what to do. So John took me to the parking lot to cry. But yeah.
I think you were able to hold it on pretty good. You only had one bogey over your final 53 holes of golf. So
Oh my God.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Chunk it? How'd you get that book?
I three-patted, actually. I three-patted that, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, your 16 under par score still is NCAA record, so it's pretty darn impressive.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, shot in the 60s every day, including a 66.
That's so great.
Yeah, I would just make every long putt. The last day that I was freaking out and crying before, I went out on the course, had birdie chances in the first few holes, but missed them, but I was fine. I mean, I was happy. I was like, okay, so that I'm actually relaxed. And then on a par 3, I put it, I think, to like 40 something feet to the hole and just hold out. And then the next hole was a par 5. I actually chunked the shot to the green, to a bunker, to 30 something yards, and just hold out from the bunker. So all of a sudden I was 2 under after 4. I was like, okay, another good day ahead, I guess.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it was just clicking, as you all said. But everything seems so easy to just hear your stories. And I guess thinking back to mine, it makes golf feel very easy.
I also think, like, for me, it was, coach was there in like very critical times. I don't know, coach, for some reason, like every win we've had together, like in like major win, there was like a critical shot, and like you were not there on most of par 3s, but you were there on most of my like decisions.
That's because I wasn't stuck on some par 3, Candy. That's how it works.
That's true.
That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was there on some of like the critical decisions.
Well,
which was really cool.
Yeah, the funny one was, we've already talked about it on here, but it was a 16th hole. Yeah, we talked about last time when you were in
I
the
think
bunker.
so. The bunker shot.
Yeah. Now, but what made that funny was that I had been on the tee with Jason. Yeah, I mean, ripping you. I was just ripping. I was like, I could see
go
that.
For it.
Yeah, I could see you were going to try to knock it on, and there goes the championship. We go in the water, and I'm like, Jason, she does not need to get cute right now. She needs to just get out of the bunker, blah blah blah. And then you waved me up there, and I got up there and I said, knock it on.
Because I think you knew me so well that I'm not going to talk her out of this.
No, there was no talking you out of it. You were basically looking for a head nod. You were ready to draw the club back almost, and you were like, and all I needed to do was give you the nod.
Yeah.
So it was pretty obvious. And you hit a great shot. It was a great shot to the back fringe. Yeah. It seemed like that was for me, because we were behind. that shot for me turned the whole thing around.
Yeah, that was
'Cause-
my senior year. Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
cool.
From that point on, then a lot of things started to happen. We did well on the next hole on the par 3, and so I'm a hole off. So that was not 16, it was 15. Because par 3 is 16.
Yeah, 16 and 17
was a par 5. And, those holes after, it was a good time for Duke and not a good time for Arizona
Yeah.
from those holes on. Yep.
But that was pretty cool for me. Coach was present at some really key moments. So.
And I feel like Coach always knew he had to treat different players differently, 'cause with personality wise, like you couldn't treat me the same as you treat Jenny Lee, or, like you can't do that.
That's a great contrast.
Like you might be able to treat me like Brittany Lang, but I mean, not you, Young Lee, or Jenny Lee, or, so I think that was a big thing too. That made a big difference, because I've heard some coaches where everything's kind of straight across the board, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I couldn't treat anybody like I treated you. You are unique so Anna would come off of a hole, a green, having not had a great experience. And so I would want to connect with her, but there was a way to connect with Anna. You sure didn't walk up to her at that point, not unless you wanted to get your head ripped off. Although she wouldn't direct it at you, it wouldn't be a pleasant experience, but it wouldn't be at me. It would be at the world that she would be. So I would go to the next tee and stand in one corner of the tee, and she would eventually come over to me. And I don't know if you even knew that ritual happened, Anna, but I did that consistently with you. Because I would stand in the corner and wait for you to come over.
Slowly
to me.
but surely.
And you always made it over. You virtually always made it over there.
But Coach, I think, I don't know. I was watching. I don't know if you guys watched The Last Dance. I was very focused on the documentary, and I think I don't know. It just reminded how Phil Jackson obviously won incredible championships, and he did a lot of the things that you did, Coach, which is treating people the way that they need to be treated to perform their best. You don't treat Michael Jordan like you treat Dennis Rodman, and you don't set the same rules. But you did that a lot of our team. You gave us the space to focus on how we could be the best on our own, so we could contribute to the team. So that was really cool.
Well, it's easier to do it in golf than any other sport, right? I mean, everybody's.
Yeah, yes and no.
But you gotta. Anyway, you all were, wow. I mean, what great wins you had individually. What great things you did for this team. I've been beside myself with everyone in these chats that we've had. This is one part of the pandemic that's been just wonderful to reconnect the way we have done this. Lindy, thanks to you for pulling these things together. But it makes me realize every time I get on one of these how incredibly special everybody on this team has been for these many years. And anyway, just congratulations to all 4 of you for everything that you accomplished, including your individual wins. Wow. Really cool.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, we appreciate everyone joining this call today. And like Dan said, what a special group we do have here. And, very proud of you. And, of course, always love seeing you when you come back to Durham. And hopefully you'll continue to come for many years. And, appreciate what you've done for Duke and continue to do as well. We're very proud of you.